Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here in Emerald Hills today. Thank you all for joining us. With me today are City Council President Pro Tem Monica Montgomery Stepp, who represents this community, City Council Member Marnie Von Wilpert, who serves as the chair of the City Council's Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. We're also joined this morning by Eric Dargan, the City of San Diego's new Chief Operating Officer, who brings with him extensive road repair experience in his career in public service, as well as Chris McFadden, our Deputy Chief Operating Officer, and Jorge Riveros, the director of the city's transportation department, as well as members of his transportation team. We also have two residents with us this morning, Evelyn Smith, who is here, and Sally Small. Ladies, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you. So we're here today to announce another step, a necessary step, to improve the state of the roads throughout the city of San Diego. This is a remedy to a situation the San Diegans see happen all the time in their neighborhoods. Utilities trenching and excavating our streets and then leaving them in substandard condition when they're done. That is unacceptable, and today we're doing something about it. Today I'll be announcing an update to our city's street preservation ordinance, which governs the rules for excavation and restoration of our public streets. This ordinance outlines exactly what's expected of utilities when restoring streets to the conditions that they found them in after they've dug them up. These expectations apply to all excavations, private energy and telecommunication companies, as well as the city's own water and sewer departments when they access the facilities underneath our streets. It says not just the standard of repairs, but also how much those excavators need to pay to reimburse San Diego taxpayers for the long-term impacts to the road's structural integrity. For too long, our city's ordinance has been outdated and only partially implemented. And our streets and our residents have paid the price. You see it all around the city. Right now, with trenching, we only require resurfacing over the trench area. And with wide trenches, we resurface the trench area and follow up with a simple slurry seal, a topical treatment that can extend the useful life of the street but does not repair the trench's permanent impacts. Basically, what I'm saying is that they don't leave it the way they found it. They leave it far worse than they encountered it. Now take this street. If you got here by way of Kelton Road, you drove over numerous bumpy trenches. Walk the streets in this neighborhood and you'll see evidence of this trenching all over the place. Right here beside us is outlined by right here beside me is an old trench, right here, outlined by unsightly and potentially dangerous cracks in the pavement. This is what passes for sufficient today in the city of San Diego. I don't think it's sufficient to the people of Emerald Hills, and it shouldn't be sufficient for any of us, and that needs to change. The cost of addressing these degraded conditions and the reduced service life caused by utilities are being shouldered by the city's general fund. That means that taxpayers foot the bill for these damages caused by somebody else. Well, not on my watch. This is unacceptable, and it has to change. Under these proposed amendments to the street preservation ordinance, wide trenches will require a full asphalt overlay, actually repairing the street, and then we'll charge excavators the full cost of their damage. Additional amendments to the ordinance will be enhanced safety by requiring higher quality resurfacing and tighter timelines for temporary asphalt patches. How many times have you seen someone come through, tear up the roads, make these minor repairs, and never come back to actually fix it? That kind of is beyond frustrating and doesn't reflect well on the city. We're going to require improved coordination among all projects operating in the right-of-way to reduce repeated work on the same road. Let's not dig up the same road twice or three times if we don't have to. So here's the deal. San Diegans tell me all the time about the poor condition of our roads. I see it too. I drive on these streets myself. And our utility companies too experience the poor condition of the roads. They drive on them as well. And so when these companies are done working in our public streets, they should have a responsibility to get the road back to good condition. It's a simple concept. If you break it, you fix it. And if you're going to tear up our streets, you should be able to restore them fully and without expecting the residents of San Diego to subsidize those repairs. That's what the proposed amendments to our street preservation ordinance will do. I look forward to the City Council's consideration and discussion of these proposed amendments, which will begin tomorrow at the City Council's Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee hearing. And with that, it's a pleasure to introduce the council member for Great District 4, along with the City Council's President Pro Tem, my friend, Councilmember Monica Montgomery Stepp. Council President Pro Tem.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for that introduction. I want to thank you, Mayor Gloria, for recognizing the need for a more equitable plan to address shortfalls in our underserved neighborhoods, especially when it comes to trenching. We were talking earlier that this is our Councilmember George Stevens' neighborhood, and he really cared about streets and cared about people, and so it's really good for me and an honor for me to stand here now as the council member of this district, continuing on in the legacy that he created for us. The street preservation ordinance and street damage fee are important for protecting one of the most significant investments in our infrastructure, our streets. It is imperative that we approach infrastructure investments with an equity lens, and I'm happy that we're here today to address the concerns about the long-term impacts of infrastructure repairs. I hope looking around today gives everyone an understanding of why I fight so hard at City Hall for the members of our community. We can see, of course, as the mayor mentioned, that this is unacceptable and we're doing something about it. The city has a lot of work to do to ensure equity in its decision-making when allocating funds towards critical infrastructure projects, but we also need avenues to hold private utility companies accountable. Trenching already shortens the lifespan of our infrastructure, but the city is left with a hefty price tag to go in and extend the integrity of these streets. This is not how our taxpayer money should be spent. Our general fund money should primarily focus on equitably budgeting for public services, for libraries, and park development. With that, anything we can do to decrease the use of general fund dollars towards the inevitable degradation of our streets is essential in creating a world-class city for all of us. As a member of the Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, my mission is to promote the importance of public safety through environmental design, and to advocate for infrastructure investments in historically underserved communities, particularly District 4. The Street Preservation Ordinance is a critical step to hold public and private utilities accountable for quality of work, while allowing the city to manage and maintain our streets. Investing in these resources means making progress toward creating thriving communities. It means we are setting up our communities for long-term success and is ultimately striving toward equity. I look forward to this discussion with my colleagues during the committee meeting tomorrow and the council meetings in the future. And with that, I would like to introduce my colleague and friend and the chair of the Active Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, Councilmember Marty Von Wilper.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and to our Council President Pro Tem Montgomery Stepp. Thank you all for being here today. It is very exciting for me as the chair of our Infrastructure Committee to be having a press conference about our streets. One of the top complaints I know I hear from my constituents, I know the Council President Pro Tem hears and the Mayor hears, is complaints about the conditions of our streets. This is $1 billion infrastructure asset, all of the streets in San Diego, and we need to do a better job making sure our $1 billion asset is cared for by the people who tear it up. Like the mayor said, if you break it, you got to fix it. As chair of our infrastructure committee, I have been focused on making sure we stop the bleeding of taxpayer dollars to things such as trip and falls, bike accidents caused by ruptured streets. When we have a utility company who comes in and trenches the street, it is their responsibility, not the taxpayer's responsibility, to fix that street. We value our utility partners. We all want broadband in our homes, electricity, our water mains. Of course, we want to work with them, but they have to make sure that they are having the taxpayers back by actually fixing the roads once they trench them. As the mayor mentioned, further changes to the street preservation ordinance is going to require better coordination on everyone's part. How many times have we seen construction on one road followed by construction the next year? Our residents are sick of it. We want our utility companies to coordinate, make sure that we only have to tear up a street once, if at all. This is going to be a critical step in maintaining not only the fiscal responsibility of taxpayer money, but the health and safety of all of our neighborhoods. So we look forward to the discussion tomorrow. Please tune in for our Active Transportation Infrastructure Committee meeting. We'd love to hear your thoughts and remarks. So thank you everyone for being here. And with that, I'd love to turn it back to the mayor for our closing remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. What time is that meeting?
1 p.m. 1 p.m.
1 p.m. All right, mark your calendars. Listen, for as much as people talk to me about the roads, you will get a good rating for that meeting. People want to be a part of it. And I appreciate the chair as well as our Council President Pro Tem to join me this morning to talk about this issue that so many San Diegans talk to us about. I want to also just acknowledge and thank Transportation Deputy Director Chelsea Klesius, who has spearheaded this proposal. Chelsea, thank you for all your hard work on this. So let me just wrap up by saying, this is a part of a comprehensive effort to prioritize infrastructure. This is not the first time I've been with the Council President Pro Tem in this district to talk about policy changes to drive more improvements in these neighborhoods. And whether that is our Build Better SD program that is taking a large amount of money and trying to focus it in our neighborhoods, not sitting in accounts at City Hall, but actually getting spent putting people to work and repairing our neighborhoods, to our Parks Master Plan to make sure that our parks match the needs of 21st century San Diegans, not 1950s San Diego, to now this proposal, along with our budget, which represents the largest single investment the city has ever made in infrastructure. What you see is an ironclad commitment to addressing what San Diegans see every day, which is the deteriorating condition of our infrastructure. And I think Emerald Hills is a great example of why I'm so passionate about this. Look at this neighborhood. This is a beautiful community. It is an older neighborhood. And what you see here is the pride of ownership. Look at these homes. Look at the way these homeowners have invested in paint and roofs and landscaping. They have kept up their properties. But then look at the public right-of-way and recognize and understand the city has not done the same. And we need to do right by these folks who have so much pride in this neighborhood that they care about it and invest in it for decades and decades and decades. It's time for the city of San Diego to catch up. And we need our partners in the utility companies to be able to work with us to do this. I believe collectively what we can do is make sure that these roads don't look like this any longer, that we have better parks in this neighborhood, that we build fire stations and libraries quicker. And then all that adds up to a better quality of life for the people in this neighborhood and in neighborhoods across San Diego. So I look forward to this conversation. Undeniably, there'll be some back and forth, and that will be good. But ultimately, what we have right now is a situation where our roads look like this. And this has to be unacceptable to every San Diegan. And what I know is that collectively, with a policy change and with real commitment, we can change this and make sure that this road looks as good as the homes that it sits next to. So thank you all for being here today. We'll be available for one-on-ones, and I encourage you to chat with any of our city operations staff. These folks are pros. They know what they're talking about, and they know that we can do better than this in San Diego. So thank you all for being here today. Look forward to the hearing tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.